What's up, motherfuckers? Trying to find your next spot for a show or event? Look no further, because Starbox Productions is here to help. If you're looking for a solid team of people to get you started with your next performance or event, this is the company to contact. They're bringing back Field Trip this fall on September 16th and 17th. And they have plenty more shows lined up. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Starbox Productions' Facebook page for all of your needs today. Tired of lowbrow production quality? Tired of having to ask your fucking nephew or whoever to fucking record some bullshit on his phone? Look no further. If you want to plan your next video or project, Guerrilla Graphics Design Agency can provide you with top tier effects and production value. They have everything you can ask for with professional equipment and a stellar end product from top to bottom. Head over to GuerrillaGraphics.com for all of your design needs today. That's www.GUERRILLAGRFX.com.
Yo, I'm just sitting here right now. Coleman McAllister, that's a really solid name. That's really, like, pretty rad. Like, that's an RPG character for sure.
You know what's crazy, too? I'm named after my father, so I'm Junior.
Oh, nice. Coleman McAllister Jr.? You added. Yeah, wow. You're ready for a D&D campaign. Just toss you in the middle of it right now.
Heck yeah, dude. I could knock into D&D, man. It's not my thing.
It can be slow. I completely understand.
I did the first 2 hours of, like, it was just like the intro, and like the whole thing went over my head because we were all smoking and drinking during then, and like it was just like so like agonizing, and like I don't even think I did that much. And they're like, yeah, we're like 20% of the way through. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good on this.
I understand. Yeah.
Well, we basically already started, but this is the McAllisters podcast. I'm your host, Cole McAllister. We're here today, Seth Cloe and Nathan Thiessen. How the fuck are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you, Nate?
Yeah, solid.
Did I nail it? Did I nail it? Did I get
You
the
nailed
names?
it.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Yeah, we're good to go.
Awesome.
Off to a rockin' start.
Great. And you guys are, do you have one more member?
Yep.
2/3 Seth Cloe and the Silver Liners. Alternative band. Right. I don't know. How would you guys describe yourself genre-wise?
Alternative is the easiest. The specifically 2010s alternative is like the best way to place it, probably.
Yeah. I know alternative's kind of like an umbrella term,
is.
you know?
Yeah. It's tough.
We found that out trying to like get on like playlists and junk like that, like because some alternative is all synths. Even they'll say alternative rock and it's all synthesizers and stuff like that, which is fine. But we're all guitars, and so like we'll like submit to it, and they'll be like, yeah, this isn't our sound at all, and we'll like go, and I'm like, oh, okay, sorry, you said you're alternative rock, so that's a weird.
Yeah.
What did we find when we were doing? I think it's like permanent wave.
Yeah.
Is like the type of thing, because like guitar-based alt rock bands that try to get on the radio, all kind of like from like 1994 Green Day to like the Killers now, all kind of have
Red
like
Hot
these
Chili Peppers,
yeah,
Foo
these
Fighters.
similar things, and like I don't think we shy away from it. Be pretty rad to be on the radio. So permanent wave is like actually a thing, but it's not as widely known as just alt rock and then sane.
So that's like a subgenre?
It's basic. Honestly, to me, it seems like it's the best bands of an era. It's basically what it is.
Or the best bands of alt rock, because like Arcade Fire is on there too, and Arcade Fire doesn't sound like Green Day, but Arcade Fire and Green Day get played on alt rock radio.
Right.
I think is like the way to think about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So the poppier sides of all of those bands, like, or radio pop of all those bands.
Yeah. You know, I was listening to your music today. I definitely heard some of those similarities and some of those, you know, Arcade Fire and that kind of stuff. What were some of your influences, you know, with what you guys do?
Sort of an interesting thing that we found is before we knew it, Manchester Orchestra was a heavy influence before I ever listened to Manchester Orchestra. The more that we've gone along, and also a band called Frightened Rabbit. It's just that those things I've already had like a burning in my soul to try and do and try and replicate some of those things before I knew of them. But beforehand, I'd say like Cage the Elephant, Weezer, Kings of Leon, and then I always forget one.
That's it. I mean, you said 4 that are in our bio, I think, already.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
I normally forget one.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
But yeah, moving forward, I'd say like Manchester Orchestra is a huge one for us.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not super into the scene, so I don't know like how popular they are, but I feel like they're kind of like an underrated group in terms of, maybe I'm wrong on that.
No,
but,
yeah, I'm. It's sort of, they're not radio forward, so they're like as large as you get before being on the radio all the time.
I
think.
see. So they're almost kind of like that underground kind of.
Yeah, the top of the underground.
Top of the underground.
Scratching
That's a good way to put it.
Just scratching the roots, really.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I listen to tons of music, and I deep dove them during the pandemic because I just been finding bands that I was like, oh, a bunch of my friends listen to this band. I've never listened. I should. And then I immediately I was like, oh, Seth, like you'll dig this. And then he listened to Mean Everything to Nothing.
Yeah, and then I listed on repeat after that.
Yeah.
There's a song called Pride on there, which for I think 3 weeks I'd just be humming along to.
Yeah.
Literally any time I had downtime. Just a little bit of ADHD eking out, and that's what rose to the top.
Yeah, they have a really like almost like sublime, like psychological, like I almost kind of think of Pink Floyd when I think of them. Like just kind of, it's almost like it's really drawn out and methodical. I can't think of what the song is, but yeah, I can't think of the song. But you know, they have music where like it's a slow build, and I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of that Pink Floyd kind of.
Their dynamics are insane.
Yeah,
his like we talked about too, his jump in like recorded vocals, because I think anyone like if you can sing can be a good live vocalist, but getting the energy across in the studio is actually like really difficult.
Yeah,
his jump from the first album to second and like how he's able to get that energy across is better than maybe anyone I've ever heard.
Yeah,
like he's like got like the gruff, like the like he's a clean singer for the most part, but when it's screaming almost like he's doing
so
that
much and matured.
Yeah, in one album too, and it was only like 2 years after they wrote their first one, and like listening to that I was like, holy crap, dude, how did you do that? Like it's taken me my whole life to try to like get that energy across, and you just were like, oh, okay, I know how I can do that better in one album. So yeah, it's so much respect for them.
Okay. Do you guys have any just curious, do you have any like tips on that, like I don't know, because you said it's like a challenge. I'm sure it's a challenge, like doing it live too, kind of getting the energy across. Like, do you guys have any like performance rituals or anything like that you do?
We do have some pre-performance rituals.
Yeah,
for as much of the drive and like the energy coming in, that's sort of iffy. But on making sure that we can hit the notes that we want to hit, we do have something.
Yeah, we do vocal warm. My wife is a vocal teacher, and so we do vocal warm-ups. But then we play the chorus of "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer, and if you can hit that without like any effort, like it just feels like normal singing, then we know we're properly warmed up. And if we can't, then we go back and do more warm-ups. So
that's awesome. Yeah. That's fucking awesome.
Before the show, I'm actually very within myself and very actually talking like now, and like people like that are new in bands with me are like, are you excited? Like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, but I'm just like just getting ready to get up there. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Historically, I've been really anxious before shows, just worried about like fucking up, because that's always how I've been. But it's only within like the past like I don't know 3 or 4 I've kind of made the just being like looking at it as like no like shows. So, like
3 or 4 shows. Oh, okay, my bad.
Like 2 months. It was just a thing where it's like I finally shifted into the mindset of being like, oh, I'm just going in for a shift at work. It's like you're not anxious every time you go into work. You're just like, I got to do my business. I'll put in my time and I'll do it. And going in, that's really helpful. So just because then normally I'd spend a whole day before a show kind of like thinking about it, trying to put it out of my mind. And now I'm just like, okay, yeah, we're going to do it. It's going to be rad. Cool. Just another day at the factory.
That's like the kind of the success mindset for sure. I mean, I can say the same thing about, rappers or whoever that comes in here. They, the ones who are, growing definitely have that mindset. How long have you guys been, I know you said the group before this, like the group kind of started around the pandemic time, but like how long have you both been individually like doing music and doing, what you do?
I've been playing for 11 years.
Wow.
I never really played in anything before, and then I had some buddies who had a band together, and I always wanted to play drums, but it was too loud. My mom didn't want me to, and I understand. I also tried to play upright bass before that, and I literally never practiced, so makes sense why she wouldn't want me to like get a more expensive. Anyway, joined their band. I bought drums because I had my first job, and then I ended up playing bass for them until, I don't know, for like 8 years, until 2019, right before I started doing my own thing in a band called Lake of Fat Kids. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. A pop punk.
Why didn't you keep that name?
I had to break out on my own.
I'm kidding. What about you? Sorry, Nathan.
Yeah, that's all good. It's all good. I've been playing.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I've been playing music for about 20 years. I played violin.
Oh, wow.
I figured it out the other day. And I was
Hey,
like,
I played cello.
That's wild. Oh, nice. Yeah.
I didn't
feel
play
that.
bass.
Yeah. And I did the classical thing all throughout high school. I actually started playing like violin in our like youth band at church, and like doing the church basically bought an electric violin so I could do that, which was actually really chill. And I did that, and that band would kind of go, and like when we would play worship stuff, we'd like, it's all like 4-chord songs, right? So we'd like turn it into like whatever Green Day song matched that. Like we would do that in the background of like whatever worship song it was. But I didn't start playing bass until after my freshman year of college.
Okay.
And so I was doing kind of rock band stuff, but it's still very violin oriented. And then it was in college when I picked up bass, switched to being a music major, and then from there just kind of picked up the other instruments I play. And then it was in college when I was like, oh, I want to be in bands like forever if I can. This is the best. Like, and so everything I was doing kind of had that pursuit. I still like the classical stuff quite a bit. I don't do it as much now. It kind of takes about the same amount of effort it takes to do this, and I'd rather do this. And so I keep up with it as I can, but it's not the same as like when I was majoring in music. It's a little different.
Yeah. Did you finish your degree?
I did. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. When I first went to college, I went for music education.
Yeah.
So
Oh, nice.
I totally feel that grind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I kind of feel what you know, when you said like you're kind of focusing more on this, like I feel you on that, because like in the day and age that we are, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in like that type of like the classical.
It pays
You
really
know.
well though.
If you get in.
Like if you're
If you get in, that's the-
and like get the gigs, because that's the thing. Like it seems like rich people still want string quartets and all
Sure.
that type of stuff. So if you get in it, it's actually like quite a lucrative like thing. But it takes like a lot of, like if you compare it like to Des Moines Symphony, like I've talked about, like I could do it, but I would have to go back and take private lessons for about a year before I'd be super confident going into the audition.
Damn.
And it's just that specific lock-in that violin requires compared to like songwriting, which is just a different type of skill. And then also like the live performance is a different type of skill and like focus and stuff, and there's not really time to do both.
Yeah.
I mean, music is my job and I don't have time to do both, so I tried and I was like, oh, actually no, this won't happen.
Yeah.
So
towards the end, like how many hours a day were you practicing?
in school,
Yeah, like when
Also,
you,
how many bands were you in?
in school I like probably like up to 8 at one point, at some points, I'm sure.
8 bands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on if you want to consider like the like orchestra
do.
groups and stuff. Yeah, so probably like 8 or 9 at a time at one point. Yeah. I don't know. I'd say on average it was probably like 6 to 7 hours a day, but there could have been days where it was like, if you include like just a regular like here's my orchestra rehearsal, like then it'd be like 10 like and stuff, because you have classes, and some of your classes are literally just playing, like your improv class, you're just improving for an hour, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So like you know, it depends on if you want to practice versus play time, but it could have gotten up to 10, because then I mean I was in like a pop punk band in college, and we would like start at like 10 and practice till like 2:30 in the morning, you know, so that's just 4.5 right there on top of actual school. So yeah.
Jesus Christ, and that is why I did not finish my degree.
Yeah.
I was like 30 minutes. I'm like, God fucking damn it, this is all I can do. But yeah, I played. I was actually went to college for jazz guitar.
Oh, nice.
That was like my. I haven't really played in like probably 5-6 years. But like, and like honestly, I didn't last long there, because like they literally just give you piano music, and then they're like, all right, there you go.
Oh yeah.
Have at it.
It's like
Jazz is insane.
I got lucky. I went to Central College, which is a little bit smaller, and then it didn't have they had an orchestra, but they didn't have like an orchestra program, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
And that actually worked out really well because I just went into school as like already the best violinist there besides the professors. But that mean like no,
he's built different.
No,
he's built different, legitimately.
It was, but like that meant I got to like be in the jazz band, and I got to be the person who like when the choir was doing a song with a violin, like they asked me, so I just got to do all this extra stuff, and then also like. I do like playing classical, so it kept me interested because half the time I'd be doing like the pop punk stuff, and then I'd get to go back. So it wasn't just 12 hours of violin, you know, or however long of the day. It was like, I'm doing violin, and now I'm going to do a little bit of jazz. But it's definitely, and the other good thing I was going to say, like versus like, I don't know where you went to school, but like here's like my music and stuff is like they would, for a while, try to pull you along if you hadn't had like a good like education like in like high school and stuff, especially because so many small town kids like come to Central and they're like, oh, I'm good at music, I was the only person in like band and choir at my school. And then you get to college and it's like, oh, this is real shit. Like this is not my like town of like 1,000 people anymore, you know.
Yeah.
But Central is good at that, where some music schools I know they're just like, here's theory, I hope you get it, you know. Like essentially they treat it like those weed out classes that like med school does.
Yeah, well, I went to USD, University of South Dakota, and which they told me it was a good music program. It is not. Don't go there. They lied to me. Yeah, I lasted there for about a semester and a half. I'm in college now for video production, so I'm getting my life back on track, as
Nice.
they say.
For sure. I know that story very well. I was in and out of college like 3 or 4 different times.
Wow. What kind of different stuff did you go for?
It was figuring. So I graduated from high school, entered into DMAC. Halfway through that semester, I was like, I don't want to go to school anymore. Working at a gas station, took a personality quiz because I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life anymore. I don't want to work at a gas station.
Yeah.
And then you can pop. Hey, you can pop that off.
Yeah, I got
Yeah, go for it, dude.
You keep going. I'll figure it out. There we go.
There we go.
Beautiful.
All right.
When you realize you don't have a bottle opener. Fuck. God damn it. That's a first.
So then I ended up finding out my personality type, INTJ. Do you guys know yours? Myers-Briggs?
Oh, not Myers-Briggs. I'm an Enneagram boy.
Wait, the what, sorry?
Myers-Briggs personality test. You familiar?
Oh my god, I just took that. I'm an architect.
I think that would... Okay, so we'll see if we can... I might be the same thing. They have different names for different tests.
Okay.
So, introverted, extroverted?
More on the introverted side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it goes, intuition and... intuitive or sensing, I think, are the two. It's S or N are the two options after the I or E.
I don't know.
Anyway, there's INTJ, the mastermind. I don't know, kind of cool. And then one of the things that it said was like city planner would be a thing that would be well suited to the personality type. So then I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that was a field. And then finished my community college degree in California, came back, went to Iowa State for planning, dropped out. Then I came back for political science, dropped out. Then I came back and finished my planning degree. So in and out multiple times, finished with what I was started with. I had the intention of going back the last time for, I think, chemical engineering. Then I was like, dude, you fucking hate math. What are you doing? Just finish, like, you hate school. Like 3 semesters, just finish what you started. You'll be fine.
Dude, that's what Joel,
and I did.
That's what Joel went to Iowa State for, too.
Yeah?
Chemical engineering,
Nice.
yeah.
What did he want to do with that? It's his brother, Joel.
Oh, okay.
Invent things, probably. He talked about how, like, chemical engineering can be anything from, like, making sure toothpaste stays, preserved in a tube to, like, so he was up for anything and then, like, just, like, hated it.
Gotcha.
So, and then that's when he went to religious studies. So.
Are you guys familiar with cultured meat?
Yeah.
Like what? Like you talking about like beef?
You grow it in a lab.
Oh, no.
I've heard of it. I'm not really super familiar with it.
So it's a field that's just growing right now. There's a thing called Memphis Meats, but now they're Upside Foods. I watched a documentary called Cowspiracy.
I watched that too.
And then that made me just like look into it. Because, I mean, obviously, I like meat. I mean, I'm born in America, in the Midwest, mind you. So I was just like, oh yeah, no, I'm down for that. And then it was just like, oh, okay, you don't have to worry about the animals. You don't have to worry about all the water that goes into everything. That's why I wanted to be a chemical engineer. I was like, I'll get more into this and help scale it, and then we'll figure out what I can do, and we can save the world with cultured meats, with lab meat. Let's do it. But then I was like, nah, that ain't my bag, baby.
Could use lab-only meat for Nacho Island.
Dude, there you go. Oh my god.
For what?
Yeah, now we're getting into it.
We'll wait a little bit, but I have an idea for a restaurant once.
Come on, get to it now.
All right, so it's essentially
trademarked. You may not take this.
Yeah, no one take this. It's essentially, so you know how like Pancheros or Subway and stuff is like the build your own type of like faster food type thing. It's that, but it's for nachos. And I think it's like, I picture it as like more of a Blaze Pizza setup. So you got like a couple types of chips, you know, your meats,
maybe even fries.
Yeah, maybe even fries. That's a point of contention, but for sure. But yeah, you've got your meats, and then you know, just everything you could possibly put on nachos, and then you'd like take it and then you'd cook it in an oven for like a little bit, or you can have to go walking tacos, like so you get a bag of Doritos or whatever off-brand Doritos if we can.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because, well, I don't know if you ever looked at menus on appetizers at any sort of place like that have nachos. They all are different, and all of them usually has something that one person in your group doesn't want, but one person really likes. And then also, like, because of like how much I've been door dashing for the last 2 years, like, I'm like, oh, nachos sound good, but I don't want them to like accidentally put sour cream on my nachos and like ruin the whole thing. So Nacho Island, like, you can have the simpler, you can just get whatever you want. It's a smaller portion. So like have your stuff, and it solves a problem for everybody.
Bro, that name.
I have a recommendation.
No, I'm not changing the name.
No, not in the name. What if you have a store where they walk in and it's kind of like a Mongolian grill kind of thing, and they just have like a heated table where it's an actual Nacho Island.
I think
it's
like
just a buffet.
I think we talked about that a little bit, didn't we?
I don't remember.
I think it was mentioned, and it was like that could be a possibility.
Bro, you just made. Yeah, it's the group. Man, that's wild. Like, I still haven't been to the Hot Pot, but ever since we talked about Hot Pot the one time,
yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah. It could, that's not a bad suggestion at all. In fact, that would be a good one. So, but yeah, and then the name, it'd be Nacho Island. It'd be kind of tropical themed. That's
your spin-off store. The Hot Pot version. That's the spin-off store. Yeah. Now we're diversifying the portportfolio. There we go.
It's been told to me by my friends who like in college would get drunk and come up with dumb ideas all the time. That it's like easily my best idea.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a good idea.
Oh, I would go there.
Yeah. But yeah, we could just use all lab-grown meat instead. Like.
I believe more expensive.
It's all right.
Well, I'm glad you guys have plans beyond your, when the band really takes off, you'll.
We've actually already talked in detail.
We talked about it. I was like, we'd have to write, because I said, after our second big album, and he's like, I know it won't be the first because you'll just blow your money on like a bunch of stuff, and it's like, for
dumb
sure.
Sports bets. Like, I can't imagine how much you're gonna put on the cut. Like, not the. Hawks to win something. There you go. You put a bunch of money on that.
Yeah, I'll know when Iowa's got a like junky line. Be like, oh, they're gonna lose, but they're not gonna lose by 8.5 points. Yeah. That'll 100%. That and just like we talked, like we'll like get done with that, and it'll be a touring cycle. And I guess in theory we'd be on a label, but maybe we wouldn't be. And then be like, let's take a year off, and I would just get season tickets to all my favorite sports teams and just live in that town. And then after a year of just sports, like just wearing myself on sports, be like, all right, we'll go back to music for a bit, and then after that is when Nacho Island starts.
And he didn't tell me that plan. I perfectly predicted that's exactly what
he's like, are you doing second because you know you're blowing your money on the first time? I was like, yeah 100%.
So like, what would be like your first big purchase, like once you've made it? Would it be that, or would it be something else?
It'd probably be one out of the 9 guitars he thinks he needs.
Yeah, I would pay off my student loans like that. That would be the first, so I didn't accidentally blow my money and then we don't have another big album. Like, I would make sure I didn't have that. That's the only thing I can like comprehend.
It's such a 50-50 on whether or not I'm going to ride this will be paid off by the government line. It's just like within 25 years, right? It's gotta happen within 25 years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they keep delaying the payments,
Well, yeah, but that's the problem. When you make it, you're gonna have to pay a fuck ton of money in taxes.
that's okay.
So that's gonna come.
I will
up.
say I've got my first real big boy job now, and the taxes do come out. The taxes do come out. I am not super stoked, but I'm also like, they're going to a good place. That's what I have to tell myself.
Probably.
Sometimes.
Well, I disagree.
Sometimes.
All this, only Seth's money is going to a good place.
That
Everyone else's.
is
Your
what
money
I have to
specifically.
tell myself to make it through this. Do not take it from me.
That's what we do in the McAllister hour. We fuck shit up.
Yeah. No, but it would be my student loans, and then it would be sport. I mean, it would probably like realistically be like Iowa football season tickets, like on the 50-yard line or something like that.
House.
Yeah,
Be a house for me. Like I said, I'll let the student loans ride for a little while.
that's fair.
Yeah, dude, or buy a plot of land. Get ready, so then all of us can have houses around.
Oh, yeah.
all the band dudes.
The Clayton Fritz dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. It'll be good.
Let me ask you this: so you guys like travel on the road and such, right?
We
Like,
haven't
not a
gotten
ton?
into that. He has for a
I
while.
have
a while. Yeah.
I have like a while back, but we haven't as a band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, so I guess let me ask you, like, or I guess both of you guys, like, at what point do you guys start like getting like how long have you traveled? Like for like what was your biggest string like tour?
Biggest tour. I mean, I moved out to Wyoming to do it. I'm sure we had like a month-long tour at some point in there. By the time I was in there though, they were kind of doing. Oh no, I did do a couple month-long tours for sure. But by the time I was there, they had kind of broken everything into like a 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off type of thing. So I didn't have to like I kind of it was my cousin's band, and then I had recorded with them too. Like I'd been involved on a couple songs, and I was even there when they demoed the second album they did, so I was very familiar with it. And when their bass player quit, he was even like, you should ask Nate, I'm pretty sure he'd be down for this. And so I did that, and so by the time I was there, I'd kind of missed the grinding portion, which was cool. Especially as we're in it right now. So it was more so it's like 2 weeks on, but
on a Wikipedia page.
yeah, that's true.
Damn.
But yeah, so about a month is the longest like tour I've done.
Okay. Like at what point did you just get sick of it? Because like that's cause, like I used to like do like more like hip hop type stuff. I'm kind of taking a step back and just done the podcasting, but like I can't imagine like the lifestyle of, like just being on the road for months and months.
Now,
Like, for me,
can I
that's
take
just-
a guess?
Yeah.
Okay. You never got 100% sick of it.
Yeah.
I would say
Damn.
you got, I want to say about like 70, like 65%.
Yeah, I think I got the normal, like, I wish I could sleep in my bed. Like, I wish I could, like, do all that stuff.
There was never a come to Jesus moment. Like,
no, there was no.
Wow.
And not in like a bad way. It ended outside of my control. Like I was ready to keep going, and like I've done it once with a different band from that, I guess. So I have done a little bit of the tour, but like I don't have a problem sleeping in a Walmart parking lot. I don't want to do it forever. I'm like 29 now. Like it's not like when I was in college. But like if you were
Sure.
like, hey, 3 tours your Walmart parking lot, but like it's gonna get better, then I'd be like, yeah, no question. So
Is it really going to get better? That'd be my question. If
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a solid yes after that, I'd be like, okay.
But just some like genie from the future doing that, because it does it does suck, but like there's also so much cool that goes with it, in my opinion. And I get why people don't like it. I mean, that's part of the reason like that other band ended, is like some of the guys were older than me and they were like, we've done this, like I don't want to. Like I get it. That's just not me.
I can 100% see myself absolutely hating it, like being out especially for like over a month. But I also think that at the time, I think that you'll do a really good job of being like, no man, like this is actually fun. Like
Yeah.
lean into it.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. It's so easy to pull off of something when you're in the middle of it, because you're like, I'm thinking about other stuff. But he's always pretty good about pulling me out of my
Yeah.
negative headspaces.
Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I totally understand why people don't do it and why people get out there. A little bit kind of like what you're talking about with like the music majors thing too. I get why people don't like major. Like they get there and they're like, this isn't what it was. This isn't as fun. Like for sure. I found all that fun though. So like,
Right.
like
Yeah, we're a different breed, because
Yeah.
we can sit and like go over the same part for like 6 hours at a time. And just try and figure out what the correct thing can be, and then for me, and I know that you've said this is different compared to other people that you've worked with, is that I'll be like, oh, it didn't work, we're gonna throw it out.
Yeah, we can spend 6 hours and like the whole time not be like we have to take one thing, just be like, actually the song was better the way it was, and do that. So that's kind of like the same attitude for touring. Like, this does suck, but I'm touring, I'm not working at a fast food restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, or like working at any other job I've hated before. Right. It's kind of the thing. So like, it's not to say there's not stuff that doesn't suck. You don't get tired, you don't miss your friends and family. Like, you definitely miss out. Like, I missed out on like my friends like playing in like adult like soccer leagues and stuff, because now they have kids and don't have time to do that. Like, but like I also wouldn't change it. Like, it would have been cool to do those things, but it was like a blast, and I would also do it again tomorrow. Like, so
yeah, I feel like I would be the kind of guy who would like, you would find me disappeared for like 8+ hours. Like, you'd just be like, "Where's Coleman?" Like, oh, he's.
Hey, that is all right. Like, whatever it takes. Like, if you're just hey, I need time by myself, or like if people in the van are like, hey, like don't talk to me today. Like, cool. Like, whatever it takes to like make you in a good mood for the show. And
I think that's an interesting thing that I found. I've been doing like watching different things on like goals, and that's why we were talking about the process versus the end result. Earlier. There was one thing that I was listening to where it was the place where you find success is a place where you are best suited to fail over and over again. Because if we're sitting around for like 8 hours and it's like we're not coming up with anything, it doesn't feel like a waste of time. Where, I mean, it's sort of like the same thing going back to like being in the music major. It was like you spent the 30 minutes doing it and you're like, I can't do this. Where it's like there are things like that for sure with me where it's like I'd spend 30 minutes doing something, I'm like, I'm not getting it. I can't do this. That's one of the things that I've realized is we're suited to fail at this, which is kind of nice to have found that particular time.
Yeah. There's definitely a point like I've talked about like where I want to, I mean, there's other stuff I want to like do in life, but if I can make enough money to do music the whole time, that would be great. And there will be a point where I'll be like, oh, this isn't getting better. I'm not getting farther, no matter how good I think I am or how well I think this is going. I need to do something else. But I'll know when that point comes, and I haven't hit that point. It's like an effort point rather than like a results thing. Like, it won't be like, oh, I didn't get a song on like the radio or whatever. Yeah. I didn't get a YouTube video that had 100,000 views. It won't be like I'm gonna do it until then. It'll just be like, no, I did everything I could, put the best effort in, and now it's time to do something else. It's kind of like the way to like look at it. More than it like, I need to be making this much money doing it. Like, cause I quit my job to do music last year and it hasn't gone how I expected, but I'm also like happier than I've like ever been. Like, so
that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. You know, they say that like someone who does music independently for 10 years like and grinds and goes through the whole thing and becomes successful at that point is a lot happier than the person who like, you know, sells out, you know, to, you know, or you know just makes it in the beginning, I guess, and then kind of, you know, that kind of ends up being it for it, you know.
And let me speak for Nathan for a second. The moment he can sell out, he will.
I mean,
it is. If he can make the money doing literally any genre, even if he hates it, if the price point's high enough, he'll be like, if touring on music, I'm in.
I mean, look, you're a music major. That's what you're cut out for.
That's true. That's true. Like, but if anyone's like, oh, I can't believe they sold out, believe it. Believe it. But again, I don't like. Yeah, it could be a genre I'd hate, but I'd find something I liked in it, which is part of the music. Like, you got like just working with different people. I've seen like people that are playing music they hate and they just like can't do it, and I'm like, oh, that just must have been the schooling, because like there's definitely stuff you're playing and you're like, well, I hate this, but like whatever. And again, it's kind of like the touring, like, oh, today really sucks touring. Like, we're just driving 12 hours, we're not even playing a show, but. You know, and it's kind of like that thing too. So that's like kind of
your process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Everything's grind. It can't be happy all the time. Yeah. You know, that's crazy. Like what? So when you guys are like coming up with music and new material, like what's kind of your process? Are you doing a lot of the writing, or are you guys like kind of bouncing ideas off each other? How does that all work?
It starts where generally I'll be just fucking around on something, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and then I have to build it out into a section of a song, whether that's a verse, a chorus, a bridge, or something like that. And then it varies. Sometimes I'm good to continue on that and build out everything more. But recently, I think we're at a new critical point, because before everything I'd have to be figuring out for myself, and it was on an acoustic guitar, so then I'd be figuring out all right there. But now that we're in the writing stage with a full band, it's figuring out something and then sitting with Nate and maybe bring some other people in to figure out where we're going to take the song and then all those different things in between. But as for like drums and bass, it's a thing where it's like I know what I don't like, but everything other than that is up to homie here.
Yeah, he's described us before when we were talking to the new drummers we were like interviewing or whatever, that the songwriting starts with me and ends with me, but everything else in between can like go. And like it's kind of a weird thing to describe because we're still in the middle of it and like figuring out totally what the process is, but it's like better's not the right word. What we're doing now is going great. And I think we're gonna keep
the workflow is really good.
Yeah, and we're just kind of figuring out exactly what it is. But there's also not a straight map because sometimes he comes in with stuff that's more finished, and then and then other times it's like not as finished, and then it builds up from more. Kind of like Unrequited was a little less finished. It was like, here's kind of the riff I have.
It's an interesting thing because it was like, here's the thing, here's an idea of what each of your parts will sound like, and then because it was both less and more at the same time.
Yeah.
And now we're working on a song right now. I think we're going to start recording it in, I think, about a month. We played it for the first time live last Friday. And it's a thing where it was funny. It sat around for, I think, a year and a half before really starting. I revisit it every once in a while we're preparing to go record the album that we have out right now. Like 2 days before we went in, I was goofing around. I came up with something. I was just like, I'm going to record that. Revisited it every, 3-6 months, something like that. And now that's going to be the new thing that we're doing. So. Yeah.
A huge part of just our individual process, even if it doesn't apply directly to our songs, is definitely like that idea is cool and humming it into our iPhone or like playing it.
Absolutely.
Like we need to sometimes we'll just be jamming at practice and it's normal jamming. It doesn't matter. And then sometimes we'll be like, before we actually practice, like let's record that so that we can come back to it later. That's a huge part. I
don't even want to know how much of my phone's memory or my iCloud is taken up by that shit. I don't want to know at all.
Yeah. It's different now too because so like over the pandemic I kind of taught myself like audio production. And so like now like this new thing like we had a couple, but we had like a new like we had a demo for like a while and then we demoed it out and then that made
What audio do you use?
I use Logic.
Okay.
I started on GarageBand because I was teaching myself, and then Logic's just the way better version, and I'm very comfortable with the interface and stuff. Sure. And I don't know. I've done a couple production things I've gotten paid for. I don't know if I want to make it my job at this point, so I don't feel a need to learn a whole new thing when we're just making our own demos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Logic's got a lot of cool features. But anyways, so like this one, like it's been way more, this is demoed out. Let's think about it. It's way easier to take into practice like with our drummer because I even made just like a like really rough. Here's kind of what we think the drums might sound like. But you're a drummer, so please make it like way better than this.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think so much of it is. Because I wrote it. My intention was to do everything myself, and then I started on bass, so I was like, I'll be able to figure it out. And then drumming, it's like, we'll get a rudimentary thing. After I had the first song, or like first 3 songs on demos on SoundCloud, I went to Guitar Center one day, sat down at a keyboard, and then tried to just like go to the percussion section of it and tried to play it out, and I was like, oh no. If I do this is going to be fucking garbage. And that's the thing. I'm just, with any of the drummers, with Keller, our previous drummer, and Ben, the drummer that we have right now, it's being able to have a rough idea, and they've been playing it their whole lives. So they're good to make it so much more interesting than I possibly could. And every bass part that he has, if it was just me, I'm going to be following the root notes the entire time, because that's what I did for the entirety of the time I was in Lake of Fat Kids. But he's got his background, so he's able.
Name.
It opened as many doors as it closed. But yeah, no, it's just. Yeah, that's why it's a let a free rein. I just know what I want it to sound like, but other than that, they're so much smarter than I am at those things for sure.
It was interesting just from my perspective when I first started the band, like because it was a little bit just filling in the bass parts and then learning where I could be like, hey, maybe we change this. And I think the first single that we have that has like our most streams and stuff, No Need to Say Goodbye, that was the first one where it actually really grew in the studio. Like, because it started as this like thing, and we're like, yeah, we'll have this outro, and it was fine, and then we just kind of kept adding more and more elements, and I was working on vocal harmonies, and that's when I was like, oh, there should be strings at the end of this song. Like that's how we like got to the like violin part at the end. And so a little bit, that's kind of what our process has been for the new things, because that was in studio and we had way rougher demos, which now it's like we have the rough demo, but then we're just building it in the demo. Like today I spent 5 hours like putting some stuff in, and then I spent again, like we were talking about, another 2 putting things in, and I was talking right before we get here, I was like, I don't know if that idea actually works. I don't know if we need it at all. Like this might not need any of those.
Yeah.
Because I've started to mix it and it just doesn't really make it pop out like we thought it would. So that's how it's kind of going, and I keep going in the future.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. How many I was listening to your Spotify, but I didn't like really look through it. Like, how many different projects have you guys done together?
This is the only one that we've done together.
Okay.
He's been in, I don't know, you were at 8 bands in college.
Yeah, I've been in a
Forever
bunch.
Lynn, and what, like 4 right now?
Yeah. So with varying.
Wait, you're in 4 groups right now?
Yeah. So
Jesus Christ, dude.
this is
It's his job.
Yeah. This is it is my, like, I don't like, it's, yeah, and some of it respectfully is way simpler than like some of the other ones, so it's really easy to, like, one's a pop punk band, it is like there's no reason to make complicated bass parts for
Following
a
the
pop
route.
punk band. Like, what are the chords?
Yeah,
Here we go.
yeah.
But so I'm sorry, what were we talking? Oh, projects that we've done together.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is like my main one though, and then my wife and I have one that's kind of like farmers markets. We've done a couple full band shows and stuff like that. She does lots of musical theater, so it's hard to plan around that. And then Kickstart the Sun, which is an Ames band, and then Antonyms to X's and O's, which is a Des Moines band. But yeah, we met in 2018, 2019, something like that.
Something around there, yeah.
Yeah, it was with an old band I was in, and Lake of Fat Kids was the other one. Like, we just played a show, and then so I was like, oh, that's who Seth is, and then probably just saw each other at shows for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he opened for one of the other bands we were in at that point, and he played the song next to me, and I was like, well, this is like an amazing song. It was like stuck in my head, and it's like, there's not too many local bands that you like just go the next day because the song is literally stuck in your head. Like, you still might check it out and like follow them all and stuff, but like the song, like, I need to listen to this because I can't get it out of my head, was like the deal. And then went to a few more shows, asked me to throw on some violin originally, actually, and then we just moved
For Next to Me, yeah.
and then moved right to the bass, and then that was kind of that from then on forward.
And that was another example of me knowing what I didn't want, because I was like, it's a love song. Violin should pop. And then it was going through, and so I was like, no, this ain't popping. This ain't popping. So he hopped on bass, and I mean, it's everything. Yeah, I mean, that so much just is like, it's an extra movement in a song that has movement, but it's repetitive movement. It elevates it greatly.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this. What annoys you the most about each other when you're like playing together? Like, what gets you like,
oh, when we're playing together?
yeah, or like performing together, or like does anything, have you guys not at that point yet?
We haven't ever really gotten in a big fight at all.
Oh,
and we
You
usually,
know, one of the biggest, I think this is the background on it. If like we got into this band 5 years ago, there probably would have been things, but we're both coming out of projects where interpersonal conflicts haven't been resolved until an exploding point. So that is something that when we were like trying to figure out drummers originally with Keller, we talked to him about. Anybody that we ended up meeting with Ben, it's the same thing. We need communication's key.
That's awesome.
And it's, if something is going wrong, we're both people that want to get it handled sooner than later. So, and for me, that's not much. I fuck up all the time, so I'd understand if there's something that you didn't like. But it's a thing where it's like, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I don't, definitely not like related to playing. Yeah, I think because like, I don't think there's anything related to anything. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, in my head, it was like, I'm
you getting
not,
jealous of a roadies?
Yeah, no.
It's like, I'm not always great at responding. Maybe he's talking about that.
No. No, that's the thing though. Like, I don't know. Seth has put such an effort into like his practicing and improvement that if there's a mistake, he's like way more mad than I could be. Like,
Yeah.
So if I was to come up to him after show and be like, why the fuck did you do that? That would just make things way worse. So
Yeah.
like, if it were ever a point where I didn't think that effort was there, then like maybe. But that's like,
I think that's also something too. It's we communicate beforehand on like where we are and what we're trying to do. and it's a thing about where we've talked about sort of where our triggers are and everything like that. And Nate's always been involved in sports, and he's just had an interest in it, competed in cross country and everything like that.
Oh,
had a coach.
hey. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Hey,
yeah.
4-time state qualifier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Better than me.
So
Oh yeah.
I got. That's the only thing I can brag about in high school.
You that was the thing. You were racing against people who were in the fucking Olympics later, though. Weren't
they've
you?
either they've like either raced in the Olympic trials, or like a dude who was like a Big 12 like conference champion and like the mile and stuff, and those all were people in my conference, let alone the state. Like, so like it was just like and then my senior year they changed how you qualify for state from just placing fourth at your district for a time, and then I got like really bad tendonitis in my foot, so like I was like easily gonna make it, and then I tried to run and it didn't work out, but I got to run in college, which was my goal the whole time actually. So
What was your 5K?
in high school I ran like a 16:45, and then in college I got down to like a 16, either 09 or 04. I don't actually remember, sorry.
Well,
And-
shit, I never got down to your college. I was probably around then for high school, 16:45 or something like that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds a lot, but
And again, didn't qualify for state. The people
right, yeah.
in his conference. Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah, I like
where'd you grow up in Iowa? Or
I grew up in Davenport, yeah. It was just like quite literally a bananas time. I went to districts like it wasn't the year after, it was my sophomore year of college, so 2 years after I graduated, and my time at districts would have gotten like third that year. So it just like is what it is. Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of really talented, really good runners that
Yeah.
like all like everyone that finished ahead of me all went to run D1 except for one person who went to run D3 like I did, and he ended up being like an all conference runner like his like junior year. So it was just like
nuts.
really good like competition. It was super fun. Like until I didn't make state, all the races were like a blast. Like, and then at the end it'd be like, oh, like cool, we've got like 6 guys who are faster than me seated in this race. Let's see how it goes. Oh, I got 5th. Dang, top 4 qualify. So just is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good sport. You know, I feel like I haven't run. I mean, I've run sporadically since then, but not really run. But like, I feel like you even get like the residual effects from like having exerted all that energy in high school. You know,
I like 2 things about it the most. The first is that there's never a debate about who's the best because they won the race.
right?
And then even like all
love that.
even all time, it's like, well, this person has the world record, so that's the best 800 runner ever. Like, he has the world record. Like, and then the other thing I like about it though is in that I have won races where I was mad, and the guy on my team who got like third to last was stoked because he ran 30 seconds faster than he'd ever run. And I think that's a really unique, cool thing about running is that like the goals can be like different. So like there is an obvious best, but then there's also like, different achievements like all throughout a race that are like fun to watch. And I think that's really cool.
Fuck yeah. Seth, did you do any sports? No. Band geek?
No, I did nothing. I was involved in thespians for, I believe, 2 semesters.
What's that?
Drama.
Oh.
Yeah. Just it was a thing where it's just like every fall was, and this is sort of a funny thing, was our musical, and I had no faith in me singing at all, so I like didn't go out for them. And also musicals aren't exactly my thing.
Really?
That's correct, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Seth. That's not surprising. You were a drama.
Yeah, no, it was a thing where it's just like, it's all in there, but it was like, I'm not ready to I only let my freak flag fly, like, fully within the past, like, 4 years, probably. Really specific, honestly, is a thing that Nate's given me props before, but we had a very difficult time in recording where there's just back and forth with our producer and, like, things not being met. And it's a thing that I feel like for character development of myself couldn't have been more beneficial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like way more assured in myself after having gone through that than I ever been before. But yeah, no sports. I did Little League, but nothing past 5th grade, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Not the high level competition of 6th grade.
No, it's too serious. Too serious.
A little bit, it actually starts to hit at that
Dude,
level.
That's the difference. It was like, as you already alluded to, I'm going to beat myself up hard enough. So if literally anybody else says anything about how I did not perform well, I fucking tank mentally.
All right, I do know the one time I pissed Seth off. We'd gone to a Drake basketball game, and then we went to this bar, and we were playing darts. And I just naturally, this is like how like all my friends were, like I just like talk shit while I'm playing stuff, and like I was like doing good at darts and he wasn't. I don't even remember what I said, but I was just doing normal what I thought banter, and Seth was like drunk and got like so mad about it. It's like, I don't understand why my friend's making fun of me. And I was just like, oh, because you're my friend. I don't know. Like,
it was a thing where it was like, this was supposed to be fun.
Yeah, where I'm like,
you told me I'm fucking garbage. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah, so obviously the competitive world of sports isn't built for someone as sensitive as I am. Because that's just a natural part of it. And I just go...
You doing acting in your adult life, like after high school?
Not like seriously or anything like that. Mm-hmm. My friends and I in high school had like comedy troupe that we did. So we made sketches and stuff. It was called The Albino Watermelons. Still up on YouTube and everything. Yeah, we're great with the names.
Yeah, like where did that come from? That was just random.
I couldn't tell you. I just performed. My buddies had it. I don't know where specifically it came from, but yeah, I just did the sketches as I was told to do the sketches. It's a fun thing, but yeah, it's still a thing where it's like, I think that I'm still far too negative of a person towards myself for me to be doing anything quite like that.
You could be good. I could see you being good at improv, but it's like we talked about with Josiah and stand-up before. Like, you just don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, he's done like some open night stand-ups like before the pandemic. They're like very funny, and our friend who did them like all the time was like, "Why don't you guys do that more?" And they're just like, "Well, I just don't want like." I understand, like, could be good at this, but I just don't care.
Like we talked about earlier, I don't have the personality to put the time in. I put the 30 minutes into that, and I'm just like, that was too much. And I did fine, that's great. But to be great at this, it takes hours and hours.
Yeah, and the capacity to fail, because Josiah's like, yeah, you'll have to bomb. And you're like, well, I don't want to bomb. But
no.
You'd bomb at a show. I mean,
absolutely.
We have bombed at a show, and they're like, oh, let's do this next week. Like,
yeah, exactly. So. I'm willing to come back from a bomb on, like, music stuff.
Yeah.
But the bombing, like, where it's I'm out there just trying to be like, hey, this is things I think are funny, and then people like, no one thinks that's funny. That deeply hurts at a personal level.
Yeah.
That would alienate me way too hard. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Fuck. So what you guys got coming in the mix? Like, do you got an album you're working on right now, or?
Just that single that we talked, and then we might try and be building that out into an EP or something like that, but I think it's probably going to be seeing how this first one comes along. Sitting down with Ben and just jamming on stuff, everything seems to be like really fluid, and we were just talking about this yesterday. I think we're at a point where we could probably bang out a full album's worth of stuff if we actually put our minds to it within the year. It's just a thing too where the initial thought that we had for releasing the album was we just wanted a backlog of stuff for people to be able to listen to, just to be like, oh no, these guys are legitimate, and you can go check the 11 songs. But now it's a thing where it's like we can take it a little bit slower, be more methodical in the way that we approach, spend more money per song rather than trying to do anything. And that's kind of what we did already. Any of the money we've been spending is like towards one of 3 songs, so if we're already gonna do that, might as well just have the one at a time. Try and figure out how to actually like play the game before like jumping in deeper again.
And we've got a goal of being on 8035 and some of the other like local festivals by next summer. So to do that, we're gonna try starting August, September-ish to be playing 3 shows a month at minimum.
And we're already hitting that for September.
Yeah, and we've already got for September. And it can also be because, you know, weird string of weddings or something come up. It might not be like 3 shows in October. It could be like, you know, like end of October, right away at November. Thanksgiving's coming up, so like you have a weird gap, but it's to like have that intentional effort towards it, because that's the thing too. Yeah, we have 11 songs, and yeah, we probably could write an album right now, but like no one outside of Des Moines or Iowa City, where we've only played,
that's a whole
has
other
like
part too.
has like even heard those songs. So just like ditching what could be good in there to like for like those people like is just kind of a disservice to it, because album came out in November. We didn't really have plans to like tour per se, but like the like Omicron thing rolled in again, and no one was like really playing shows out of towns and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, so it kind of killed a little bit that momentum and stuff. And then our old drummer was in like another band, and just like having the time for all those bands to do as many shows as we wanted didn't work. So this is like the first time we're actually able to be like, okay, no, like we can put some focus into shows. So we could do another album, but then we'd lose that effort for the shows, and we'd have like 22 songs worth of music and had played like 10 shows as a band. I don't know where we're at now, but like it'd be something comparable to that.
Sure. Like, how much would you guys say it cost you to make that first album?
It cost $2,500 to track, edit, and mix, and then another $800 for the mastering, something like that.
Jesus.
And then, and that was, I mean, honestly, it was a thing where, as our producer said, we're never going to get that price again. But at the same time, we're never going to have that experience again.
Yeah.
Because if it was, we were paying anything more than that, it would have been a really big fucking problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a thing where it's like, and then also it's been like, probably like, over $1,000 on trying to like promote it and submitting it to different stuff like that. So that's been just playing the game. The most recent thing that we've submitted to has been showing the most improvement for anything. So I think that was sort of beta testing it, and for the next thing we're going to be ready to move on it. But yeah, it's just figuring out what works for you. But a lot of money, a lot of money. That's the answer.
Yeah. Well, I talked to a lot excuse me, hip-hop artists, and like I can imagine the costs for that are a lot less significant than recording an entire band, because I assume you guys are recording yourselves separately. So that's almost like the hours that you put in is almost tripled. That's a whole other way to think about it.
Yeah, it was a huge process. That's like why I quit my job in like end of May instead of like end of June or something like that, because it was like, well, we're recording this album and I can spend all day making the rest of these parts and stuff. And all that. So I mean, I was gonna do that anyway, but I think the timing of it was like, well, I could wait a little bit, and I was like, because I'm going on vacation, have extra money for that, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna spend days like working on these parts, and then I would send them off to Seth, and
it was kind of funny. At the time that he left his job, I started my internship.
Yeah.
It was a very poor alignment of times, but it worked out. I mean, it's a thing also where on some of those songs, I think this is a thing we haven't fully sat down to figure out what the process is going to be, but we know that some of those songs, like he talked about Next to Me before, we can get to sound the way we fully want them to, and we know that they can like have a lot more pop to them, and figure out when we want to try and re-record some of that stuff.
And part of that is to just like even in our recording process with the other producer, I just learned so much from before. Yeah. And so like just even be able to come in with our demo and stuff and being like, this is what we actually want. Like, and then even just picking out a studio, like in general, we could be like, oh, this studio does this type of music, that'll be great for this song. Because there's a few we might want to re-record and have a little bit with like just the style that we've developed, because there's some things that live we just play like a little bit differently than the recording ended up to, even some of it just an edge. And we'd also kind of like we talked about with the Manchester Orchestra dude, we'd have the ability to get that edge across in the recording, because we spent a lot of time like neither of us gave a shit about like guitar pedals or like tones or amps or like anything. Like I like just was like, I just want to play like what is in that touring band. I just used their stuff, and I was like, what do I turn on for this song? Cool, sounds good. When it's like, oh, okay, that stuff sucks, but it's really important. And so we've like had way more of that, which will be easier to be like, well, this is the tone we're using on the song. Like, are you a good studio to like get that, guitar sound across?
Can I go back for a second?
Sure.
So you said that you were in like rap. Does that mean that you were like producing beats? Were you like rapping over anything? Like what were you doing?
So I actually on my last album this wasn't the case, but previously I produced a lot on the last album I did too. I've done production. I used what was it? Avid. Ableton.
Oh, okay.
That was my program. But I did that. I rapped for about 5-6 years. The last show I performed, I've told the story plenty of times, so I'll shorten it. But like basically the last show I performed at, I started, and by the time I was done, about 70% of the crowd left.
Oh, dude, been there.
It's rough.
Been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've just had more success with the podcast. It's just made, kind of what we were talking about. Like, it just makes more sense to like focus on this, But yeah, I started that probably in about 2017, and kind of just did, incrementally. I just put out an album called Enjoying My Time in Hell this last year. McCretin, MCCRETIN, if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, I don't know. I right now I'm kind of just in I'm just doing podcasting. That's kind of my phase.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you ever do any like rap battles?
No, I haven't done that. There's this. So I actually know there is a rap battle scene here in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
One of like a friend of a friend has participated in a few of them, so I'm familiar.
Yeah. So Crazy Baby, the guy who runs that, I know him. I actually edited a couple of videos for the thing, for the rap battle. But yeah, they go wild. The reason I haven't done it is like they have a really strange format where it's a cappella, and you have to have like 3 different sets of bars. So it's like a 10-minute thing where you're just like roasting this guy for 10. Like, I just don't know if I could. And it's all premeditated. Like, I don't know. It's just not really my vibe.
Yeah, it's a thing I know I couldn't do. I couldn't roast someone for a single bar. I'd feel bad. Yeah.
I did one when I was in college on the way back from a track meet.
Yeah.
Like they would do. That's what the track team would like do on the way back from the track meet, and I was just like the track team I was on for the first 3 years. I was like for real like the only like white kid. I was like one distance runner, and then everyone else like yeah. And so, but I was like, oh, I want to do this one time. And so I sat for like, we were in like a tumwa, and I sat for the whole time back, like coming up with a thing, and it was good, like, and it like actually good. And everyone else was like, oh my gosh, and stuff. And then I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm never like, if someone was like, oh, I've got to come back, I'd be like, yeah, I'm toast. Like, I literally just spent 2 hours like thinking of a way to roast you. Like, I cannot think on my feet like that. So I've done one bar essentially, and
there you go.
That was it. I retired from the rap battle. It was really funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I could just imagine you going up there.
Oh, dude, I looked like so much more of a dweeb in high school too. So like waist, like I mean, think like way skinnier. I was probably wearing contacts at the time at least, but like yeah, it was really funny.
Short hair.
Hair, yeah.
Yeah, there are some wacky characters that come on that thing though. Like there was some. There was a black lesbian against a scrawny white kid, and like they just were going at it. I was just editing it, dying. I'm like, oh my god, they're going fucking crazy on each other.
That's so
just
funny.
Digging so deep. Like, and then there was a point where they're like, it's too personal. We're fucking crazy, man. Like, and that's probably my thing is like, I feel like I would almost go too far. Like, I feel like I lack like the social awareness sometimes.
Sure.
So I feel like I'd almost go like too far.
Have you ever watched New Girl?
No. Oh wait, I have seen like a little bit of it. Yeah, how she's just like so everything kind of just goes over her
there's
head.
a character called Winston, and he has pranks, and they're either so inconsequential no one notices, or they're so intense they ruin literally everything. And I feel like that's the approach. It's like, I'm gonna be too personal, it's gonna ruin everything, or I'm gonna be like, your shoes are white and they shouldn't be.
Yeah, you're like, you got scuff on your van.
I see a wrinkle in your Jordan. And that's the best.
Yeah, because you'd start with that and it'd be like, oh, come on, man. You'd be like, okay, and then just like,
yeah.
Your best friend died of cancer. And like, oh.
It's because you're such a bad person.
All right, that was Seth Cloe.
That's funny. Do you guys think they're running out of band names?
They'll never run out.
No.
You don't think so?
No. It's a thing. It's just, there's always something new. I'd say, like, because you can just put, I mean, how this is the nutty thing. How can I have Seth Cloe and the Silver Liners? That's something that should have been, and the silver, like that should have been a thing that was taken.
They'll
It's right there.
they'll run out of horse racing names, like the names for the horses, before they run out of band names.
Oh yeah,
I feel like they're really.
No,
They were some good ones this year, but I feel like they're really like, okay, how much farther can you go than this?
Who was it that won Kentucky Derby? Lucky something Strike? No, Rich Strike.
Rich Strike,
Rich
yeah.
Strike.
But there's some good ones in there, but it's also like I don't think it can. So I think it'll run out of that before, because you can just make up anything. I mean, there's a band called Pet Sematary. You got Pet Cemetery right there, and so it's just like a little like thing. Right off of that.
It's just
like,
references.
Yeah.
As long as new things are created, bands will be good to go with names, because it's not there's a rich tradition of a band coming up with a hit song, and then another band using that hit song's title as their name.
Like just looking at this,
It's good to go.
Just looking at the Stephen King posters, like I would listen to like Hearts in Atlantis. I would listen to that band. Bag of Bones. That's a metal
That's
band.
a great. Roadwork is a name I've never heard of, but that's a band name.
Yeah.
All of those are.
Full Dark No Stars is an album title. Mr. Mercedes, that would be like I could see like a rapper like going that.
Gwendy's Button Box.
Yeah.
That unfortunately that is a band name.
Right, but like point being like
true.
It could go.
Anything. Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think is it that like makes a band name stick? Since you've come up with so many, is it all pure ingenuity? Is there some kind of?
That's my response. It was that raspberry for you. That's what I got. I have no idea.
Yeah. I think some of them can be like that one. I was like, oh, that sounds like a metal band. Like some of them like fit like a metal band will probably have some sort of like dark thing.
It's just a personality thing, I think. Because like to me, if you told me to do Gwendy's Button Box, I'd say that's fucking stupid. But if you told that to like now this is gonna sound unfortunate, but like a ska band, I bet a ska band would be like, yeah, that's fucking dope. We should be Gwendy's Button Box.
Oh yeah, I saw a band called Beebs and Her Moneymakers one time, so that like really
It's one man's trash and another man's treasure. That's exactly what band names are.
I mean,
That's what it
even
is.
like Arctic Monkeys is my favorite band, and what a dumb shit band name. I didn't listen to them for a long time because I was like, that's a stupid name. I won't like this.
Yeah.
And then like, because I love to watch like full live sets on YouTube, and then like one day I was like, fine, whatever. And then I was just like 10 notes in, I was like, oh my god, I was so wrong.
That's so funny. That's the same thing that happened with Manchester Orchestra, because it was, I think you recommended to me, you sent me a live video of it, and then I was just like, oh, okay. When Josiah posted about it, it was in his like top 10 songs of the like 10 bands of the year, and I was just like, oh, that's so pretentious. I couldn't possibly ever like that.
Manchester Orchestra.
And then you sent it to me. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. This is really good.
Yeah, like Arctic Monkeys is like actually like I think they even think it's a stupid band name, but like they're like one of the biggest rock bands in the world. So like you don't have a thing. I mean, Foo Fighters. Do you know what actual Foo Fighters are? Like
World War II thing, right?
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds familiar.
It's like it's like the basically like the like reflections like from like the like sky and like particles and stuff create just like lights that like bounce around, and they call them Foo Fighters. Like, and it still is like a thing that happened, but like that's how that came. So like you could probably just look. I mean, we almost had a couple baseball band names because I just went through Wikipedia because I'm a big baseball fan, and just it was like Seth Cloe and like the home runs or like Seth, but like obscure ones, and I'm sure that would fit for someone.
Oh,
like
yeah.
their obscure favorite baseball terms. So like things like that. I think it just is like fits like you find, and I think it is definitely personality because it has to fit for you. Like Dave Grohl thought the Foo Fighters worked, and then the music went along with it.
Yeah.
Like, and if it was bad, a label would have told him change your band name. Like
I was ready for that at any time with Lake of Fat Kids.
Yeah.
That's a conversation we had many times.
I mean, the band was in equal parts. Like before, it was my friend and I, and we were like the main two like focuses of like the project, and then we just like have other people come in and play with the show. So it was equal parts. Dan and Nate was like the idea. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. You guys have like a favorite or the greatest guitarist in your opinion?
I've never been great at favorites like that. I've always been like songs. I feel like that's the way to and then that might be the approach of just like the songwriting thing rather than a particular guitarist. I've never got another part of it is
very Johnny Greenwood of you. He's Radiohead's guitarist, right? That's like his thing. He hates being called a guitarist. He's like, I'm a songwriter.
Gotcha.
Like, yeah.
I think part of it too is like I don't really go nutty for just instrumental music. Like most of the time like unless I'm inebriated, then I'm not here for it.
Sure.
So I'd say, and then I guess I'd say that oh gosh, Scott Hutchinson from
Oh yeah.
Frightened Rabbit would probably be the guy. He's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Just everything that he layered together and his like lyricism. So I guess that'd be and then Andy Hull. Those are the two guys.
Yeah.
Guitarists, songwriters. So I mean, that's what I do. So that makes sense why it's that way.
For pure guitarist, my answer is Jimmy Page. Because I actually think he fits like songwriting. Like he doesn't need to be ripping solos in like every Led Zeppelin song, but when it does, you remember it. Like, and he's like did all their producing too, and he was like, guitar's not the focus. I'll put my guitar. Like, how many guitarists and bands in the 60s and 70s, if they were producing the album, would have been like, the guitar can be back in the mix. Like, he was so song focused, and then also he could also shred. So he's my favorite guitarist.
Fuck yeah. He used to do it with the fucking cello bow.
Yeah, he's got the
That shit was
bow.
crazy.
He's got a theremin.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
I used to do, because I had I played guitar and I also had cello, so I would take that old cello bow and I'd be like,
Oh yeah.
shit, that sounds crazy.
I've done that with my bass before. It's really cool if you throw a tube screamer on your bass and then play the low strings with a bow. It like really gets this cool distortion effect. That's
Nice.
pretty tight.
I used to have a little like slide glass thing, just fuck around with that for hours. Like,
Here's a question I like to ask. It's kind of related to the guitar thing that it might take you a sec. So like if you don't have it, that's fine. What are the 5 best songs you've ever heard? Not your favorite songs, because that can even shift, but like the 5 best songs you've ever heard.
like in general, in terms of rock. I'm guessing.
No. Whatever it is to you. So I'll
like
give you
one of the best. Like my example is, I think, "Runaway" by Kanye West. It's a song that was just like, oh yeah. The trouble with me is like my favorite songs and the best songs I've ever heard are a circle. They're not a Venn diagram.
Yeah, and it can be the same thing. Like, but like for my example, like Bohemian Rhapsody is the best song I've ever heard. Like they record and like part of it's like a lot of these are the songwriting process for me is what gets into it. Because imagine writing that first ballad part, which is great and it's unbelievable. Everyone can sing that right now. Immediately after you do that, you look at your bandmates dead in the eye and be like, after this, we're doing like a 40-part opera.
Yeah,
and they don't say that's stupid. We're a rock band. You know what I mean? And then they do it with 1970s recording equipment and like all that stuff.
That's a great point because I'd probably call you stupid.
Yeah.
I'd say we can. That's stupid, but we can try.
And as great as he is, it was like I forgive me on the year, but I think it was like 1975, 1976 when they were writing it. Like Freddie Mercury wasn't Freddie Mercury yet, and also everyone in Queen still was in Queen, so they had egos too. For the ability to just like be like, no, like you're right, we should do this, and then still break out into the other sections of the song that are all unbelievable and anyone can sing like right away. I just think it's the best song I've ever heard. Like. It's so good. And then the next one, like, so like this is like a genre thing. I think the second best is the Hallelujah chorus by Handel, because you like anyone can sing it back, but it's still doing all the really cool like classical things, like anyway, Hallelujah, like everyone knows that, and then it's still doing all this cool. I mean, and it's the counterpoint and like all these like different things. Like so, someone in 1600 wrote a song that still lives on and can be sung back like that today.
Real quick sidebar. Do you think Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah would have existed without that one?
Yeah. It's just a religious phrase.
That's fair. I mean, no, I'm with you. It's just a thing where I wonder if it's like that.
Question.
Yeah, as soon as you throw it out there, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I forget about that Hallelujah all the time.
Yeah, but then like number 5 on my list is I don't need to fill in the rest because if you thought, but like Brain Stew by Green Day.
Oh, that's a
because
great
again,
song.
the songwriting process was this is all we need. Let's just build it. I know this melody is great. I know we don't need to build a guitar riff anymore. We're just gonna keep having it build and go, and it's just the 3 of them, and they just create this massive song. Like, and I just think it's really cool.
Fuck, I'd probably say "Stairway to Heaven."
Okay, yeah,
"Lithium" by Nirvana.
nice.
The last part 4 of Beethoven's Symphony 9.
Yep,
I can't really think of the other 2.
that's all right.
Those
yeah.
are 3.
I mean, you rattled off 3. I wouldn't have even had one.
Yeah. I've like sat and thought about this a lot. I thought about a lot of the job I hated before, and stuff. Like, and then when I was still playing at churches, I thought about it because I asked everyone at the church and no one said a worship song, which is like, so this does suck. no one was like, oh, like, you know, like this song, like, and they were all like saying like, you know, not worship songs, and I was like, exactly, like, so yeah, think about, even if like later, like a week from now, you just message like our Instagram and just say that'd be fun, because I just really like hearing like what people say, because it's so unique. Because your favorite songs, like my favorite songs right now, are different what they were 6 months ago. But the best song, I think you have to actually sit down and think like, oh, okay, like what was really stuck with me.
Yeah, it probably needs to be like a combination of like, you know, both things that are simple and complex.
It can be. You can just pick all complex.
Yeah,
there's
sure.
no wrong answer. Like if you picked, you know, all just like high level jazz music, like you wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, because
to you, yeah.
Because Brain Stew's on real simple. Like anyone can cover that. No one can write Brain Stew. Like I don't know if I've heard a song like Brain Stew besides Brain Stew. You know, like maybe the punk elements, but not just a literal. Here's my guitar. Okay, now there's the drums and bass come in. Now they back off a little bit while I sing this, and like it's just carried by the melody. One verse is even the same lyrics except for one line the whole time, and it's still just like
Well, and the chords just go up like half a semitone, right? Like
just keep going down.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's kind of a weird way to, you know, music theory wise. I do know a little music theory.
exactly. Yeah. Dude, I love working with people who don't know theory, because they can write the most insane thing, and I'm like, oh my god, what are you doing? They're like, I don't know, I thought it sounded cool. It's great. It's seriously great. I love it.
It's great working with someone who does know theory, because then you can diagnose what the fuck I just did afterwards.
Yeah.
Does this work? Yes, it does.
Yeah. What was it for Set It Right? You're just like, oh no, it's actually the same thing that Lord does in Royals, where it sounds like it is this, but it's actually this.
Yeah. Oh man, I've lost the name again, but there's this pop music trope where bands will they'll use the 4 and the 5 chord all the time, and they'll even sound like they're resolving to 5 chord, but the song's actually in like a different key.
Yeah.
So like Royals is I think it's in D major, but they only use like G and A, or it's something like similar to that, like, and then they like never like resolve it, and it's like a pop music like trope. And one of our songs like has that, because he's like, oh, I think it's in this key. And I was like, actually, it's like this, because this would be the 1 chord. We just never play the 1 chord. Like we resolve to like this other thing. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys got that all locked in.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, everyone. I know that was boring as hell. But it's cool to me.
I mean, that's another thing about it, where it's just like, do I understand what he's saying to me? No. But is he coming with an energy that says, this is kind of an interesting thing? I say, that's great. That's fantastic. All right, cool. That means we're doing something good.
That's like when there was one time we were at a bar, because like a bunch of times when he hangs out with one of our good friends, we just talk about sports all the time. And I can't remember, we were out, it was like that same group, but then him and Lexi and someone else were talking about something just going off, and I just made one little like thing like this. It says like, I don't give a fuck what Nate has to say. I have to listen to him talk about shit I don't care about all the time.
Yeah, I don't remember what
so
it was either.
funny.
I do remember saying that though.
It was so funny.
Nate, shut the fuck up.
I hear about sports fucking cons. I don't say anything. That's fine. I'm learning, so he can learn today.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad about it. It just cracked me up.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the nice thing, is just other people I know would have been pissed off about it. But yeah, that goes back to the thing you said before. Very little about it's actually pissed off. And just like being like, oh no, it works.
That's awesome. Guys, we're almost at an hour and a half. We've been going for a minute here. Do you guys have anything you want to wrap up, or, you know, mention before we wrap up? Socials? What are you guys performing next? You guys got that set up?
Potentially July 21st at XBK.
Yeah, we'll definitely be at XBK no matter what for our next show. Potentially July 21st for full band regular thing. August 13th.
We are going to be doing a Green Day cover set. So if you're, Green Day, it's going to be the whole entire time. We have some buddies in Hot Cunch that are going to, if you want to drink that name in for a second, Hot Cunch. They're going to be doing Panic at the Disco. There's also going to be Paramore and Death Cab for Cutie.
Yep.
Those are going to be on there too. But yeah, it's going to be real sick. That's August 13th, which is a Saturday.
Saturday night.
Yep.
They've got tickets on sale, and I might actually like pick those up before, because there's already a lot of response to the Facebook event, and no one's even really promoted it yet because it's in August. So should be fun. looking
Yeah.
forward to that one.
For sure.
And then I guess after that too, like it was a long way off, but Confluence in September we'll be there a couple of times. We'll be there Labor Day weekend and then later on in the month.
Nice.
So
Fuck yeah, I love
Yeah.
Confluence. I love their beer. I'm
yeah,
a huge fan.
Nice.
dude, it's my favorite brewery.
Des Moines IPA guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
heck yeah.
You're a prick just like me.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll be there a couple of times, and now we'll play covers and originals there. So if you're into a little bit of both and chilling with your friends, I mean,
Yeah. And then I guess I just plug listening to our music, and then our close friends and Display Case, Kickstart the Sun, and Hot Cunch.
yeah.
Anybody else? L&N too. Yeah, man.
L&N,
Yeah.
Peter Blumberg.
Yeah, dude. All those things.
Fuck yeah, fuck yeah. Well, hey, I love what you guys are doing. I love your music. We'll put links in that in the description below. Check out the Patreon on McAllister, Patreon/McAllister Hours. We do have extra content we are putting out. If you guys love what we're doing, want to give us a little more, that's the way to do it. All right, guys. Seth Cloe and one of the Silver Liners.
Perfect. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I want to be in a huge band, but anonymous. So that's great.
No, Nathan Thiessen.
You got it.
Thiessen.
Bam.
Hey,
Let's go, baby.
2 and 2, man. All right. I don't even know why the fuck I do a podcast sometimes. I can't even remember these fucking names. All right. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you on the other side.
Sweet.